republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Germs. All right, can you please make sure that your phones are either turned off or on silent? All right, seeing that we don't have any comments for public session. Mr. Van Orman, did you want to start?
Absolutely. I'd like to welcome up Mr. Bonanno and Ms. Griffith, our two of our high school science teachers and two of our advisors for this year's Science Olympiad teams. With them tonight, there's some students as well, so I'm going to turn the presentation over to Mr. Bonanno and Ms. Griffith.
Thank you, Mr. Van Orman. It's nice to be here with all these seniors. Mrs. Madigan, the rest of the Board of Education, all others present tonight, thank you for this opportunity to share with you recent successes with our Science Olympiad program. On Saturday, January 31st, 15 Red Creek High School students traveled to Lemoyne College for regional competition with 32 other teams. This year we had 6 new students that had never competed in a competition of Science Olympiad before. I feel that our team was very young, yet very determined to make a difference as they understood our culture. When the day was done, Red Creek students celebrated top 10 achievements in 10 out of the possible 23 events that day. Within those 10 events, or those 10 events that we scored in, 4 were first place finishes. The only team to have more first place finishes that day was the overall winner of Fayetteville Manlius. And of course, I'd like to remind everyone in the audience and watching at home that there are no classes like in sports for Science Olympiad. Rather, all schools compete in one division, no matter what the school size is and the amount of support received. We've always felt that the underdog mentality pushes us as a team to only harder achieve towards our goals. And the coaches have nothing but gratitude and praise for how our competitors represented not only themselves, but Red Creek that snowy day. It seemed like it was only snowing in Red Creek, but that's another. We're very excited about our future, and we're very thankful for our seniors as they led our program to this prestigious representation. So I think this picture kind of captures a wonderful moment. Thank you, Mrs. Davini. We had no idea. Ready to Do It is the event that Kaylin is pictured in, and we had an idea that we had first place before that was announced, so we kind of let some of the photographers know that. And they captured the moment, I think, very well. If that doesn't capture Red Creek Science Olympiad, I don't know what does. So. As we go through, this is the team, 15 of us, all having a wonderful time. This is before the awards ceremony. And next is a little bit of data. I didn't want to over data you this evening. I know, I do too. But this is the number of medals. I mentioned before, 10 out of the possible 23. Red Creek there is all in the capital letters, and you can see that, the teams that were represented. Is there some confusion there? Some teams bring multiple teams. There's an A, a B, possibly a C. The bigger schools, they have cohorts of 600 or more students in their graduating class. In comparison to Red Creek, the average is about 60 or 65, 10 times as small. You can see where we rank with that. Okay. The overall results are here. As you can see, a lot of the larger schools, public and private, are there, but Red Creek is right in the mix. And that's something that we always strive for as a team. Individually, everyone does what they need to do, but collectively, it always pans out that way, that we're right in the mix there. So, I am proud to tell you, however, just bear up a minute, thank you so much. Red Creek was awarded the best small school in all of Central New York about that day. So with that said, I'd like to thank the parents for their ongoing support and willingness to transport competitors in adverse weather conditions to school, back and forth. It was so nice to see the parents come support academics in action. To the high school administration for understanding what it takes to run a successful program and doing whatever they can to help in the process. To the transportation crew for battling the weather to get us there and back. To the other coaches in both programs who took the time and effort to ensure a successful season. Of course, to the Board of Education for their continued support. Finally, to our team. Let's be honest for a minute. They do a lot. Not just Olympiad, but sports. As you're going to go through this presentation, we'll have some pictures of the award winners. There's someone missing. Bethany Keefe. Bethany came. She put together a first place finish with Kaylin and ready to do it, and then headed out for a varsity basketball game. Right? So our kids do a lot. They do clubs, band, chorus. Other leading schools will not allow their Olympiad students to do anything else but Science Olympiad. Here at Red Creek, we added to the list of things that I can thankfully say is our portrait of a graduate. We are still successful, and we will be for a very long time. I also would like to take a minute or two. Before I do that, though, let me go through some of the pictures. So these are the events, and these are the pictures of those that received between 1st and 10th place in the respective events. Anatomy and physiology. I see a Divinity there. I see a Haas. Bungee drop. If you were there and you witnessed it, it was amazing. They won by a long shot. It was phenomenal. Chemistry lab, designer genes. So I think what you're noticing is there's building events, there's testing events, there's different core sciences in the STEM, and we're all over the place winning those medals. So it just adds to our diversity as a team. Okay. I think there's a little bit of heaviness on bio, but that's a me thing. That's okay. Right. So I was very thankful to actually see Jordan and Nathan do robot tour. Nathan put a lot of hard work, and Jordan put a lot of hard work into making that a really neat event to watch and see. So, rocks and minerals, another science event. Right to do it. The picture you saw in the beginning, Kaylin holding Bethany's award, but Bethany was probably scoring buckets in the interim. So, our success of our middle school science Olympiad team. For the first time in over a decade, I decided that these individuals, as part of the advanced 8th grade science program, deserved an opportunity to go forth and be part of an experience at the lower level, the B division. High school is the C division. This is the B division. It was also so nice to work with Mrs. Johnson for the middle school component, knowing that her own child was a part of the team. I am now officially old, knowing that I have coached generational talent. So we were very lucky to have an opportunity to send 8 8th graders to Cicero North Syracuse Junior High on March 7th to compete at the Division B regionals. The objective here was twofold that day. One, prepare with a partner for just one event. These kids have never done anything like this ever before. So we wanted them to have hyper-focus on one event, then also explore the competition, see what it looks like for Science Olympiad, and prepare for the future. So it's kind of like a neat way to kind of get them introduced to what Science Olympiad was all about and still compete at the same time. These 8th graders were awesome in prep, awesome in competition, and we walked away with some fun, some good memories, and some great hardware. It was exciting to see any Red Creek team medal, but to get first place finish on your first attempt, that's simply amazing. As we go through here, you can see there's first place in boom lever. We got Sawyer here. He brought his boom with him. Kid worked forever on it. Just kudos to him and Liam for doing a top-notch job on that. The team medaled in the top 8 in 3 of the 4 events that we entered. So each team has 2 people. We had 8 kids, 4 events. Just having half a team, a full team is 15, and being able to beat a few overall schools with just our score in 4 events is quite impressive. We have Crime Busters, forensics/chemistry event, 5th place with Kenzie Peters and Addison Deviney. Oceanography, an earth science event, Lily Alexander and Nadia Bani. So you're also seeing the diversity of events again at this level and seeing success with that. These students are more than ready to tackle high school next year. So I just want to thank again everybody, to all the components of this district for their support. and this rewarding opportunity. I have a couple students here from the high school division and one from the middle school division, so the floor is open to you to ask any questions of them. I kind of prepped them a little bit as to what you might ask, but feel free to ask them whatever you feel necessary, and I'll step aside.
Any questions?
The couple of you that are here, the few of you, would you like to just stand up and? Sawyer, can you zip through the front there? Can we get you through up there?
Mr. Bonanno, I have kind of an odd question.
Yes.
So when you were back to the 10, or the 10 top places, why is the number next to us larger? What does that number represent? Is 8, like the numbers went?
Slide.
Yeah.
Earned
Yep.
points.
The number, is it 270?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
why would,
that's the number of points we earned.
okay, so is the goal to earn less points?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
each number
I mean,
has points.
sorry, okay,
So the more first points you have, the fewer, it's like golf.
okay,
So-
all right, because I
Before-
was confused, I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that's a 65, where's our trophy?
So before the discussion with the kids, you see that the A teams, schools can only send one school. Like, so FM has 2 up there, you see. So the FMB cannot go to states. The
Okay.
Janesville DeWitt High School B cannot go to states. So that kind of slides us up to 6 as far as
Okay.
A schools are concerned. We're on the outside, one place looking in.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
so again, we're always in the mix. Sometimes we're the last in, last bid in, first one out. We're a bubble team like Syracuse basketball a little bit, so, but to compete with those schools at that magnitude is quite impressive.
Thank you.
We'll start with Ethan. Do you want to just introduce yourself and maybe some of the events that you participated in?
Yeah, I'm Ethan. I'm a senior here, and I did designer genes, anatomy, physiology, disease detectives, and chemistry lab. So it's kind of a range of life science events and some chemistry as well.
Sophia.
Hi, I'm Sophia Stanner. I'm currently a junior at Red Creek High School, and I competed in forensics and rocks and minerals. Forensics was with Ashley and Keith, and we both definitely took on different roles, and we kind of split the test up and we went. And then rocks and minerals was with Connor DeVinny, and I think we can both say that I freaked out a little bit, but it ended up being okay, and it was a geology-focused event.
Sawyer.
I'm Sawyer Johnson. I'm an 8th grader at Red Creek Middle School, and me and Liam did boom lever and
So what do you have to do for them?
and for boom lever we have to make our boom lever, which is sort of like a crane, hold lots of weight on this side and not break. And there's lots of compression on this piece, which is force pushing in on it. And there's lots of tension on this piece, which is force pulling on it. So, yeah, pretty proud of it.
Yeah. Questions from the board?
Did either of our high schoolers do the same events this year that you did last year?
Yes.
And if you did, was it easier this year?
So I've been disease detectives for the past 2 years, and yeah, designer genes, because the events rotate in life sciences, so it's actually microemission last year, which was a single biology focus, but it's more microorganisms instead of genetics. But so a lot of the content carries over between them, but the hardness of the test varies between you, so you can't make a comparison.
What are you most proud of from your experience?
Definitely the designer genes, because you're allowed to take a reference sheet to take to the test. But unfortunately, there's a miscommunication between Ms. Griffith, and that was never printed. So I went into the test with a reference sheet, and I still got fools.
Sawyer, what are you most proud of?
Well, I've never been to Science Olympiad before, so I kind of cleared the boards.
I love it.
Mrs. Johnson, we're taping this for later, so.
I would say I was most proud of the fact that me and Ashlyn were not informed that there was a room change last minute for forensics. So we were 15 minutes late and had an entire section that we weren't able to complete because of the time constraint. and we still managed to take second place.
That's awesome. Rock stars. Thanks. Other questions?
Thank you.
Mr. Bonanno, every time you bring these kids here, I think the board feels brighter after hearing them speak, so thank you very much. We appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. Great job, guys. Thank you.
If anybody has ever watched one of our board meetings,
Sure they
one
are.
of so I'm going to ask each of the three of you to come up. I'd like to give you a token, like a challenge coin, for coming here today and sharing your passion for school and your successes in the Science Olympiad. So all three of you come on up and congratulations.
Those coins should say no retail value on the back, just in case. Thank you guys very much for
Thank
coming
you.
tonight. Thank you, guys. Mr. Norman?
Yeah, we'll just kind of going to regroup here for a second, switch presentations over.
I feel like it's not very Daniel always has to follow
Yeah.
something like this.
Should make her first.
So, right, Danielle does have the unenviable task of following
Thank you.
all of our student recognition ceremonies each month, so.
And you just lost your math teacher, so she.
Chucker math. So of course, tonight is our third and final sequence related to our budget presentations that we've taken you through over the last several months. The objective tonight is to present a balanced budget and then to have the board approve that balanced budget later on in the evening. So I'll turn over the presentation to Ms. DiBiase.
Thank you. So we'll jump right in with the revenues. We saw these last month. The highlights here are a 3.2% tax levy increase would be my recommendation. That is tax cap compliant, so it only requires a simple majority vote for that to pass. You're seeing some slight changes in some of our miscellaneous categories, and then in our state aid, you're seeing a 15.1% increase, which for folks at home who've been listening to me talk about this for a few months, you've heard me say we're getting less foundation aid, and then now I'm showing you that we're getting 15% increase. It's a little confusing. The 15% increase is really a result of we had debt fall off last year, so we saw a $2 million decrease on revenue last year. That debt is back, so now we're getting building aid on that project, and that's bumping that state aid number back up. We are still waiting on final numbers from the state. They have continued to extend their budget, or the budget process rather, which makes our budget process a little more difficult because we don't have any final projections from them. So, although I've spoken with you quite a bit about how this budget season, the governor proposed a further reduction to save harmless down to 1% from a 2% annual increase, and the year prior it was a 3% annual increase. Although we've talked about that quite a bit, both sides of the legislature have put forth a recommendation for 2%. So this balanced budget does include a 2% foundation aid increase assumption. We're hopeful that we'll see that come through in the final numbers, but at this point it looks like the state will not have a final budget adopted until the time that we are voting on our budget. So we've got to make that decision and move forward, and that seems to be the most likely scenario at this point. But for the sake of conversation, just know that that is an assumption on our part, and that may change depending on what the legislature finalizes. So overall, those are really the major changes. Use of ERS reserve and appropriated fund balance are the same year to year. That's really important because we've been trying to reduce our reliance on fund balance and reserves. That's basically the district taking from its savings account to balance the budget and close the gap. Last year, we were able to replenish those savings accounts from the end of year surplus. To be financially stable, we need to be able to do that every year. Otherwise, our savings account total balance decreases year to year. We're looking to do that again, but that number staying flat year to year is a stabilization of our use of fund balance and reserves. Overall, that brings us to just under $28 million for budget with an 11.4% increase, again, very high. But when I take out that debt service and building aid increase, the revenues are really only increases by about 2.1%, which is a very modest year-to-year increase. And of course, because this is a balanced budget, you'll see that reflected on the expenditure side as well. So the first part of our three-part budget is instruction, our program. And you'll see a couple of big negative numbers in here. And what I'd like to open up with is that those are not reductions to programming. Those areas, the students with disabilities, CTE, and special schools, are really driven by student placements. So from year to year, we have the different numbers in those categories. And that tuition rate typically goes up year to year, but if I have 5 fewer kids in it, that changes what our overall budget in those specific areas look like. So in particular, I'll take CTE. Last year at this time in the budget season, we had a total of 47 students. It's billed on prior year enrollment. So in 26-27 will be billed for 25-26 kids. Last budget cycle, that was 47. This budget cycle, it's 31. Just a change based on which kids are interested in participating in that program. Throughout the rest of this, regular school instruction, school library, pupil services and athletics, transportation services, and even employee benefits, we're seeing very minor increases, just some shifting around in there. Overall in this, you've got a $120,000 increase, which is a 0.7% increase, essentially holding flat across program, preserving our program offerings. That's the big thing for this season. With things being tightened at a fiscal level at the state, we're going to see, we've been able to come through this budget cycle with being able to still offer everything that our students have had in prior year. On the capital side, you've got your O&M. You'll see that 8% increase, $178,000. Primarily, that would be the utilities that we talked about. So we've seen our utility costs double a couple of times this year. Unfortunately, those increases do not appear to be slowing down. So the bulk of that increase in operations and maintenance is really attributed to our utility increases. We do have increase in employee benefits as well, just tied to what health insurance plans folks are enrolled in. We did see a 20% increase for our base health insurance plan. Some plans higher, some plans lower. And then Medicare was an 80% increase this year, so a really quite substantial change. And then on this side, you're going to see that debt service expense. So our building aid went up by about $2 million. Our debt service went up by about $2 million. They washed themselves out, but you'll see that increase on the three-part budget when it's reported. And the last portion of the budget is the administrative portion. Again, I would say we're seeing some small fluctuations dollar value-wise in each of these categories. The biggest increase here is in the employee benefit line. And that is because as part of the three-part budget, we are required to report all retiree benefits under the administration category. So even if someone's a retired teacher, the minute they retire, that benefit cost gets reported in the administrative portion. And of course, on our retiree side, we have many more people in that Medicare plan that went up by 80%. So that's really why you're seeing the largest employee benefit increase on the administrative side of the three-part budget. These fluctuations overall take us to an increase of about $260,000, just under 10%. So that those three parts bring us to a total budget that ties out to this total revenue of just under $28 million at $27,899,873. One thing I did want to talk about that's different this year for us is we are utilizing voting machines. So that'll look a little bit different for folks when they show up to the polls this year. the way these voting machines work is it's still a physical ballot. So it's basically, for all of our kids in the room, it's like a scan truck. So I'll print it, there's a bubble.
I don't know if that helps them.
Everybody outdated already?
Yes. It helps the adults in the
Okay,
room,
all
but
right.
not the students.
I'm outdated already.
You know, some of them are gonna be able to vote, Danielle, so you gotta tell
Yes,
them how
and
it
you
works.
could, as long as you're 18 by May 19, you can register to vote and come vote in the school vote. But it's a printed ballot, it'll be typed up as it always is, and instead of having folks circle, their individual selections, they'll fill in a bubble. There's still an option to write in candidates, those spaces will still be there, and basically what happens is you walk up to the machine, and you insert it, the machine reads it, says your ballot is counted, and securely stores that ballot in the base of the machine. So if there, was a need for us to validate the count of the machine, those ballots are all maintained in a secure box within the machine. So for folks who have voted before, it's going to look very similar to what they've seen at the polls. They'll come up, give your name, sign in through your regular process, and go through that. For folks who have not voted before, our process remains largely the same. It's been updated slightly because of some new requirements for reporting results and information tied to the election process. So if you have not voted before and you're not in our list, we'll ask you to give your address and show some proof of residency at that address, a driver's license, a form of mail. And then they would sign in and complete their ballot. Same thing, insert the ballot into the machine. It'll scan that, save it, store it in the bottom of the machine. So this will be different for our process. For anyone who's voted in their local elections at the county level, you've probably seen these machines. They're used pretty widely. And the only thing they do for us is basically speed up the tallying of the votes at the end of the night. So they will also help, the software for this will also help with that reporting of the additional election information that we're now required. That's a new introduction this election cycle, so take that. The very last part of my presentation for the night is our formal propositions. So for Proposition 1, shall the budget for the Red Creek Central School District for the fiscal year commencing July 1, 2026 and ending June 30, 2027, as presented by the Board of Education, in the amount of $27,890,873 be approved and adopted. So we'll pass that through. That exact language is what will be shown on the ballot in each of these cases. For Proposition number 2, we're requesting from the voters $420,000 for the purchase of 1 full-size bus and 3 8-passenger SUVs for the use of student transportation. Those are scheduled or being requested to be purchased out of our capital bus purchase reserve. What that means is we buy them in cash, so there's no interest payment on the voter for that because we're able to use that reserve for that purchase. And that capital bus purchase reserve is one that we typically put money in every year to be able to fund these purchases. That's part of that not eroding fund balance that we're trying to get to. And of course, the very last item on the ballot is the election of 2 board members, 2 seats for 3-year terms. The candidates are Elizabeth Becker, Charles A. Palermo, and Stephanie Folds. This is the order that they will appear on the ballot. So folks can vote for up to 2. They can choose to write in 2 as well. Like I said, the machine will have that capacity to read the write-in votes for us. Any questions on the final balanced budget and where we stand?
Just have one. With the state not telling us if we're gonna be at 1% or 2%, my assumption is that you've kind of built in enough of a buffer so if they come back and say it really will only be 1%, we'll be okay. But is that a correct assumption?
So I would say every budget I use conservative budgeting practices because whether it's the state saying that 1% has changed or, for instance, we have a new student move in who is a high-cost student, there's always some changes that happen between the vote and school starting up in September. That said, with the state not being finalized, I would say that if there are any changes, we would of course have an assessment and conversation of where we're at. We evaluate and assess how the budget is performing multiple times throughout the year, regardless, that specific instance aside. It's a regular part of maintaining the budget is to see how we're performing versus how we projected we would perform a year and a half ago when we're doing budget development.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, kudos to Danielle and her team, the administrators for putting this budget together. I'm proud of the budget. If anybody has been watching a lot of the news, I think the unfortunate reality that so many schools right now are facing is, you're seeing some schools that are having to look at making cuts somewhere in their programming, their staffing. We've been fortunate enough through some sound budgeting practices over the last couple of years to put ourselves in a position to avoid having those discussions right now. So, again, kudos to the board and to the team for their insight and wisdom as we walk through that. It's challenging times. It's only in the foreseeable future. It appears that it's only going to become more and more of a challenge, and I think it's something, as Danielle indicated, that we have to reassess these things on a continual basis and monitor what the forecasts of those things are. But the reality is, in the coming years, we're going to have some real conversations about what that looks like. So.
I think the real kudos goes to you and your administrative team now, because I don't think that we would be in the place today if you guys weren't here in those positions.
Thank you.
Agreed. Thank you.
I'd love to be able to share some MVP tidbits with folks. So this month, 27 award winners for us. And we're going to have an enunciation test for Mr. Van Orman here this evening. The first one.
Pick who you read. Pick a hard one.
Yes. So Mrs. Lapp, down in our elementary building. Sue is not only super talented with an abundance of knowledge of OT, occupational therapy, she's very supportive and has a great sense of humor. She truly cares not only for her students, but for her adult friends here at Kyler as well. She's worked with my daughter many years ago, and Sue always has been her favorite. You rock, Sue. So, coincidentally, the next one I would like to read is from Mr. Bonanno, who remains in our audience here this evening. Mr. Bonanno is the kind of teacher you can walk into his class having a horrible day and leave with a completely different attitude on your day. Mr. Bonanno was so understanding and overall a great teacher. I always hear in the hallway how he's a favorite teacher or a good teacher, and I completely agree. He is so understanding and patient with all of his peers and is just as a funny, sweet teacher. In addition to that, I think you heard from him his commitment and passion tonight for service to our students as well. So, Mr. Bonanno. And the last one that I'll read is from Nathan Tsutsumishida, who is our middle school English teacher.
Good job.
So, there we are. Nathan gives teaching 125%. He is bound and determined to lead his students to deeper levels of literacy and greater opportunities for life. He does all of this with passion and also a nice dose of humor. Nathan is a great addition to our Ramily. And I did not write that part. I think you hear the personalities of the adults, through the tone that you're hearing. And I think, those are the kind of things that set us apart, is that our staff truly care in not only words but actions. And that speaks to the ones I read tonight. So congratulations to our MVP awards.
Great, thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to the minutes of the regular meeting from the 18th. Could I have a motion, please?
May I make a motion for both C and D, the minutes and the financial reports?
You may, thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Decker. Questions, corrections on the minutes? When you're ready.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce?
Yes.
Mrs. Decker?
Yes.
Mrs. Dingman?
Yes.
Mrs. Foltz?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaiser? And Mrs. Madigan?
Yes, thank you. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the entire consent agenda, 1 through 7.
Okay, I'll take that. Second?
2, 1, 2, 3, 1.
Yes.
Yes. Short answer is yes.
So I need a
I'm
second,
done
or
trying to do
I need something different.
Nancy, could we amend that to pull out 3-1?
You want to not approve the consent agenda as a whole? Yes. Yeah, I discussed,
We can still have the conversation, either way, but if that's what we could still do that the same kind of way if we wanted to. So can I have a second, or can I?
sure.
A second? Okay, thank you, Mrs. Allen.
What was the
I don't really know.
It's
the consent
E
agenda.
1 through 7? Sorry,
Yeah.
She's,
thank you for re-clarifying.
okay. Did you get that?
E 1 through 7, Mrs. Dingman, Mrs. Allen.
Did you get that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Any questions? Mr. Van Orman, would you like to speak to our retiree?
Yeah, so, as I believe Mrs. Decker was just alluding to, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. DiBiase again. We have a resignation for purposes of retirement, and as her direct supervisor, I think Ms. DiBiase can speak intelligently on this position.
Thank you. So I'm very sad on behalf of the district to say that Pam is retiring, but she's worked with us for over 27 years. She started with us in 1999 as a substitute and worked her way through the kitchen and has been leading the charge for many years on that front. She's served our school community so diligently and with so much care over the last several decades. She's put on so many events like the junior supper and brought celebrations to life across the district for students and staff. So I would like to say thank you to her for all the work she's done and the care she's put into it across the many years she's been here. And I wish her nothing but the best in retirement and hope that she'd like to come back and sub for us, as we often do with our retirees.
Okay. So I have to say, that is anybody else looking at her resignation letter? It doesn't say anything about her mother. So is she taking her with her, or? I don't think we should accept it.
We've had that discussion.
Mr. Berman, did you? Oh, yeah. So, thank you, Danielle. We wish her lots of fun times in retirement. Hopefully she'll be back, so.
This board certainly will miss her, especially her goodies.
Yeah.
That
Some of us more than others.
They've inspired to their hoping they get the recipes too.
Or is it passed?
We'd
Thank
like
you.
a recipe book.
Thank you very much. Mr. Van Orman, did you want to speak to?
Yes, including in this same consent agenda, we also have a tenure recommendation for several of our teachers, and one of those teachers is here this evening, Mrs. Hildreth in the back, so just wanted to recognize her for that accolade.
Congratulations. We're confident that it's gonna go through, so we're gonna clap early. We'll clap afterwards too. Any other questions? When you're ready.
Mrs. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mrs. Foltz?
Yes.
Mrs. Dingman?
Yes.
Mrs. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
And Mrs. Madigan?
Yes. Mrs. Hildreth, congratulations. So, I'll get back to that in a second. All right, we're gonna move on to, F, new business. Could I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion, 1 through.
Oh,
What?
I have to apologize. We had a second tenure recommendation. Sorry, I almost whacked you in the arm. I
Thank you,
completely
Mrs. Allen.
overlooked it. Mrs. Kaiser caught me or somebody on that end of the
Everybody on this
table.
end knew what was going on.
I'm just telling them.
Thank you. So we have Mrs. Smith, also in attendance tonight, who you just voted on her tenure.
Congratulations, Mrs. Smith.
So happy you're here.
It's a little warm in here and smells like onions, so we're a little off our game.
Don't know why we weren't all invited. I thought the silence was just like nobody wanted to make a motion. I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Good thing Molly's name is short, because I couldn't write it quite fast enough. Mrs. Steinman, were you in the midst of a,
I'll still make the motion 1 through 8, unless if somebody had something different.
a second for Mrs. Folds? Okay, so this is a chunk. I think before I say that, I don't know with 8, we might have to name out who we're voting for, so. So I'm gonna ask if we do 1 through 7, if that's okay.
Make that.
Thank you, Mrs. Foltz. I'm gonna change that for F 1 through 7. I'll take any questions or conversation on that group. When you're ready.
Mrs. Decker?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce?
Yes.
Mrs. Damon?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen? Mrs. Foltz? And Mrs. Madigan?
Yes. Okay, so for F8, I know this is always a little clunky, so do we wanna start with the budget? It's not pulled out like that, but can we vote that way? All right, so, would take a, okay. Try to help. I'd take a motion to accept,
Make that motion.
okay, Mrs. Decker, and a second by Mrs. Folds. All right, so this is just specifically for the budget. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, when you're ready.
Mrs. Foltz?
Yes.
Mrs. Allen?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaiser?
Yes.
Mrs. Damon?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce?
Yes.
Mrs. Decker?
Yes.
And Mrs. Madigan?
Yes. Okay, onto the candidates. So I would need a motion for each person or not, up to 3 seats.
I have quite concerns over the current board at BOCES. They have financial issues, they're not doing their due diligence, they've all gone to training, they seem not to be practicing what they've been trained on. It's very disheartening about what's going on. I don't feel that they're providing the best experience for our students. So I personally can't support anybody who's currently on the BOCES board and moving forward.
Is there a motion to vote for anyone?
So my only motion is to go with Deborah Horstner.
Are we allowed to just vote one?
We are.
Up to 3.
Is Anne currently on the BOCES board?
She is finishing her 9th year at the Wayne Finger Lakes BOCES board and was president of the board for 3 years.
Oh, sorry.
Phil Rose was on the board previously
I'll take that motion to vote on Deborah.
Okay.
Would you second that?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead with your comment.
I was just going to say, I'm with Nancy, but I would say, I've interacted with Linda Egnor quite a bit, between like 4 counties and different like NISBA events. And I think that she has been really receptive to conversation and or thoughts, concerns. So I would also, nominate her or vote for her.
That's okay, we can just kind of have an open discussion at this point. Other comments? We're gonna go through them as a vote at the end, so,
So we have another one down
I mean, I
Okay.
think Phil, he's bringing back some experience. I was looking at him, he's been off the board, he wants to come back. I think it'd be good to get somebody else in there. On the line,
I can
Linda.
understand.
anybody else? So the only thing that I would say to this is that I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, that this board was pretty clear in their frustrations of the way that the budget was delivered this year, so I'm a little partial to side with Mrs. Dingman's comment, because I'm just a little concerned when you have the same people coming back, you're gonna get the same results. So there are, if I research this correctly, there are other board members that currently sit that are not up for their term that do bring some experience back. And I just, for us, being way out here on the end of our group, I'm not really sure that we're being represented as much as I would like. So,
Linda, remind me again, Linda is what to us? Is she some sort of advocacy like representative to specifically to Red Creek?
no, she's
No.
just the closest district.
North Rose Woken.
Yeah.
I thought she, I apologize because I didn't like look at doesn't she send us a letter every year with like some information about specifically what her role is?
I've received one from Mr.
Yeah.
Rose as the president in the past. I don't
Okay.
think I've received one, or I might not remember. I don't know if
Yeah,
anyone
I'm not
else.
remembering
I
it
believe I
correctly.
have, but not just from Linda, it's
Yeah.
from others.
Oh,
Yeah.
That they-
Like maybe when they return to the board
Yeah.
or get on the board.
Gotcha.
Right.
Mr.
Could be.
Harriman, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she might have provided services at some point to our kids' speech.
Well, she was
Yeah,
way back when.
like CPSE level maybe.
Yeah, I couldn't speak intelligently one way or another to that, without double checking one way or another.
Other thoughts?
I tend to agree in terms of not bringing back the same folks. It sounds like we have 3 names up in the air at this point.
So we have 4 candidates for 3
Right.
seats. We have to vote up to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they can be 3 separate motions, so.
Oh, well.
So Nancy, you're proposing that we just vote for the one person that would be brand new?
I felt the same way that you did, Phil, looks like he would like to come back. So it's not a reelection, or it's a new election, so I could support both Deborah and Phil. If you would like me to make that a motion, I can.
I am in favor of Linda as well.
That could be a separate motion.
Yep,
Okay.
that's.
Yeah.
I don't know who seconded that first one from Mrs. Ingman.
So you're gonna make that a
Yeah,
second?
So is it okay to amend that
Said that, but I
to,
don't know if.
would be for Mr. Rose as
Yeah.
well? We would vote on those together.
Yeah.
Is everyone comfortable in voting, because you
Sure.
vote one way?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Philip and Deborah.
Correct. Questions, comments? Okay, so,
We'll just do
yeah, when,
hands.
yeah. Okay, so we'll do, all in favor of, I can't talk, what is her name? Deborah, thank you, Deborah Korsner. All in favor, hands up. Okay, any opposed? Any abstentions? 7-0. And then we'll take Philip Rose, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? 7-0.
I
Who
would
would,
make a second motion for Lynn Wagner.
could I have a second, please? Mrs. Allen? Sorry, I didn't see your hand, Kim.
And she's currently on it now.
She is. Any more comments? Okay, all in favor? 3, opposed? 4. Do we need to, and I can't remember, and I apologize, but do we need a motion for the last, since we didn't vote for 3, do we need to vote on the last person at all?
It's just like a school election, you can vote up to.
2, so we don't
You
even
always
have to.
need motions, right?
Okay, do you have the counts?
Yep.
Perfect,
All
thank
set.
you very much. All right,
Would you, I'm sorry,
I'm sorry.
since tonight is the all for one, one for all vote for BOCES, would you let us know in an update of?
Yeah, when I get an update, all the school districts are, in Wayne Finger Lakes BOCES are voting tonight, and, we have to report those, results tomorrow, so I can, when I get an update, I'll send those along.
Thank you. Okay, any questions on administrative reports? Our student was ill and left, thank goodness. He was not looking so great. So, any questions? Okay, Mr. Zimmerman, you wanted to?
Yes, thank you. Couple quick, before I jump in here. Big shout out to Marnie Medaw and our drama production kiddos from this last week. Rendition of Peter Pan was superb Friday and Saturday night. Great attendance, huge cast this year, and they just really knocked it out of the park. Had the pleasure of seeing them on Friday night, and then on Saturday, just a secondary shout out. I just left euphoric on Saturday. Came up for the pancake breakfast and the craft fair, and then the chicken barbecue. Just the overall sense of pride and feeling. So many community members and faculty and staff just giving of their times, all in the nature of doing things for our kids. So many of the board members were there as well at some of those different things, supporting our kids. So it was just a really prideful moment, this past weekend, seeing kind of the fruits of everybody's hard work. So, big shout out to everybody that was involved with all those pieces. Aiden was prepared to share this, and unfortunately, again, as Mrs. Madigan indicated, he's not here. Just to follow up for the board, in keeping with where we are right now in the election and the nomination of board member season, we've been using a similar format at the high school for our student board rep to replace Aiden as he will be graduating. The design that we had talked about was getting one incoming senior and one incoming junior, so that there were 2 seats, 2 different voices and opportunities. We put out advertisements and marketing to have students, apply, submit applications. This year we received 3 applications during the timeline. All 3 of them, however, are going to be incoming seniors. So the hope in the design was 1 incoming senior, 1 incoming junior. The regulation is a student board representative minimum. So little thoughts, opinions maybe from the Board of Education. We can certainly move forward with our selection process with those 3. Or if the board really feels strongly about trying to find a incoming junior, I can work with Mr. Gaffney, who would then work with some of our 10th grade advisor, Bridget Johnson, and some of our 10th grade classes to recheck in with sophomores to see if any of them have interest and maybe just didn't understand to put that application in. Just a little direction, guidance, thoughts, opinions, one way or another. It appears that we should be in a good spot to get 2 names. It's just a matter of if you would like 2 seniors or if you would like us to try to see if there's any incoming juniors and then fall back on this. So thoughts, opinions?
I think it's up to Mr. Gaffney.
Yeah, however you can bring somebody along, I mean, I
Well,
think
we'll
it's
get
so
you,
new,
we'll get you
too.
one, yeah, we'll get you, to me, the value of having 2 different grade levels is you might get different perspectives, at different times. Where maybe you'd have some redundancy at the senior class level. But again, maybe with having 2, it balances that load out a little bit. So, seniors go through a lot of, there's a lot of stuff for seniors. So having a second set of hands and eyes might lighten the load, so.
I think in an ideal world, if we could have a junior and a senior, that could kind of pass the torch along. It would be nice, but if
You also have to think about if the junior want to commit to 2
2
years.
years, that's tough.
Like, what if the junior comes on and they're like, I don't really wanna do
You
this.
guys are
Yeah.
enough.
Who would wanna commit to 3 years?
But I think even 2 seniors would be good, cause, if Eden has a sporting event, maybe.
Or he's sick, so he doesn't come in here.
Right, so I think there could be some value in having 2.
I also think that, having 2 people would also give 2 students pushing back out information to other students who might,
Run in different
Possibly,
circles.
yeah.
So.
so, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can kind of leave that as a standing hope, desire, goal of getting 1 of each grade, and depending on a year-to-year basis, I'm sure that'll fluctuate a little bit, so. But looks like we're in better shape this year,
Thank you.
so. All right, our enrollment data, again, it ticked up, slowly but surely. Ticked up. I have signed, again, a handful more student registration packets, and I know of 1 more in the works. So at least maybe a sure sign of maybe some short-term stability, stabilizing of our numbers on that. I did attend recently a local consortium of some other Wayne County schools and seeing some parallels in the 6 schools that were in attendance, 6 schools that were represented. All 6 of them, we looked at enrollment data from 2000 and compared it to 2026. And across the board, in every one of the 6 schools, at minimum was a 35% decrease in enrollment from all 6 of those schools in the last 26 years. So, and interestingly, we were on the lower percentage end. We were in the 35-ish, not the 55-ish % range. So it's a challenge I think every school regionally is facing. So, or many schools, and grappling what that might look like going forward. So, and then of course, trying to do a better job of sharing some pictures and correspondence related to our ongoing capital improvement project. Anybody that's driven into our campus in the last couple of weeks probably has come face to face with the reality that we are under major construction at this point outside. I think we've tried to be as good as possible, trying to be as non-disruptive as possible with this, understanding that it is in the middle of a capital improvement project. A lot of big equipment out there. We're trying to be safe. The work that you see out there in the main lot and the student parking lot areas is scheduled to be completed in the next few weeks, by the end of May. I say next few weeks, it's a month. We're waiting on the quarries to open, which should open in early May, and then we can get the paving and the striping done in those 2 areas. And then no other asphalt work will be taking place until July. The priority of getting something of that started is just the scope of that work and trying to manage the ins and outs, even though in the summer, we still have, programs and opportunities. So this will give us some traffic flow pattern options in the summer when the rest of it is getting chunked away. So, of course, you see the pool. I know Elizabeth, Mrs. Decker got a chance to see this a couple weeks ago when I met with the Community Center Advisory Board. You folks, a couple months ago, had a chance to see it. Right now, they're in the process of painting the ceiling in there. It's gonna be a white ceiling, and then they're gonna start reinstalling the ceiling work, and then the trenching and the tile work on the deck. So coming along, the best we can on that. So, and then the last picture you saw is some of our elementary classrooms. Prior to spring break, we moved 9 classrooms in the elementary school so that they could begin demolition and the reinstall of those 9 classrooms. 27 classrooms total. Is that right? 29, 20, 27? 27, and then just gives us a head start on that, right? So it leaves 16 more that we demoed over the summer. So somewhere right in that ballpark. So questions, comments on any of my updates?
You'd be excited to see a picture of a pool with water in it.
It had water in it. It held water.
Going swimming?
So
No, but I feel like there's a lot of our community members that are interested in swimming again.
yes, absolutely.
I would just like to thank you, Mr. Vanderman, and probably other people in the room who worked really hard for the Rage tournament to get the parking lot to a position where people didn't have to walk from Fuller's to the school. I was really impressed with how much you guys were able to consolidate everything, so appreciate that.
Yeah, it's great that you recognize that. That was purposeful. We just know how big attendance-wise that event is, and so many of the folks that come from outside. They're not familiar with our campus. They don't know where to park. They don't know where to go. So trying to make it as easy and user-friendly as possible for everybody. It worked out, so I'm glad. And then the last thing, I know Ms. DiBiase put this in her budget presentation, just official notification on the ballot order selection, which was drawn Tuesday morning by Ms. Osborne. 3 names for 2 slots, 2 incumbents. Thank you, Mrs. Decker and Mrs. Foltz. And you see the names and the witnesses, so that'll appear on our upcoming elections.
Perfect. Any questions? Okay. I would take a motion to move into executive for a particular personnel matter, please. Mrs. Decker, and a second by Mrs. Dingman. Thank you. If you need a signature, see one of those people over there, so you can prove that you were